think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Money Level Show, where we think, act, and prosper. And today we're going to talk about the congressional hearings about cryptocurrencies, and this is where we had Congress come together to discuss what should this look like, and everybody sharing their opinions about this. And so we're going to look at one of these articles I read recently on Coinbase about this, and I just wanted you guys to tap into that with me. And so when I talk about cryptocurrencies, even though some of you may not agree with them, may not like them, or whatever, for whatever reason, my job is to provide education, and I try to do that as non-biased as possible. And even if I decide to invest in something, I want you all to do your own due diligence. And so that is what I wanted to share at first. And so first off, they had a congressional hearing on Bitcoin and the regulation of cryptocurrencies. Some people are for the regulation of cryptocurrencies. They're saying that, okay, there's a lot of innovation behind this. We need to put some guidelines in here so that we can let the entrepreneurs do their things without having these uncertainties and things like that. Because if it does become regulated, in the best way possible. I mean, obviously, Bitcoin is a system that's running on its own. It's decentralized. But if the government puts any regulations in place, it would allow for some of these bigger institutional buyers and investors to get in and do more innovation and more work around that, and more investing and things like that, without having a lot of uncertainties and walking on eggshells. Some people advocate that that's important. On the other hand, some people say we don't want the Fed, we don't want Congress, we don't want anybody involved in this, and we want our personal liberties, and we want money to be free from any type of government, any type of involvement in that way. And I agree with that as well. Now let's go ahead and tap into that. I'm gonna pull up my Coinbase app just to pull the article up, just so you guys can see what I was reading, and just so you guys can see what I was reading and stuff like that. So 5 things we learned from the congressional Bitcoin hearing. So expert witnesses and members of Congress weighed the risks and rewards of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies this week. Here are the key takeouts. So the experts included Peter Van Valkenburg, however you say that, Director of Research at Coin Center, a nonprofit focused on issues facing cryptocurrencies. Alex Goldstein, Director of Financial Policy for a think tank, the Open Market Institute. So you have some big players there that were in this and just kind of in this conversation. And so some of the things that were taken away says that the crypto industry needs better regulations. Representative Tom Emmer was concerned that America may not get the full benefit of its cryptocurrency entrepreneurs if innovation is stifled by lack of clarity and regulation. And his concerns were shared by many other representatives and crypto experts. He called for a robust classification system for digital assets to determine whether cryptocurrencies are securities, commodities, or merit the same treatment as fiat. He also highlighted the potential that Bitcoin and blockchain platforms have to offer in creating a better transparency and trust than traditional systems. And so this guy right here, he's coming out, he's saying, like, we need to classify, what is this? Is it a security? Is this something that the Security Exchange Commission should be in charge of? Is it a commodity? Or is it treated as a currency, like such as fiat? And so they're trying to get some language around this, and how are we going to identify this? Because that has been a challenge for Congress, that's been a challenge for a lot of the politicians. It's like, okay, what is this? And so you have a lot of differing positions on that. Some people just say, oh, it's speculative. Some people say, oh, it's an asset, it's a store of value, it's a gambling thing. So you have a lot of different people that are trying to identify what is this, and they're trying to pretty much put a title on it. And so that's what it is. And so then you have other pieces of the article where it says the 2008 financial crisis was on lawmakers' minds. Conversely, the rapid innovation and expansion of the crypto industry and its recent attraction for retail traders was some of the concern to legislators. With new ventures, platforms, and tools to encourage and support the use of crypto springing up at such a rapid rate, some representatives cautioned that we could be witnessing a run up to 2008 all over again, and worried that the state would need to prop up crypto markets. So it's saying that they're afraid of another bubble and things like that, which I feel is very contradictory because, yeah, there has been a huge run up in cryptocurrencies. I mean, we saw that happen in this year where some of these cryptocurrencies just went crazy. I mean, 1,000%, thousands of percents. And yeah, I believe that we were in the bubble. I believe that, we're still kind of in that space, but I believe it's cooled down. It's been chopping sideways for a long time, for at least a few months for now. And I believe we're going to have another run up eventually. But so these people are saying that there's a lot of risk involved, and it's pretty much like the 2008 market. They're fearing that. However, I mean, we do have the Federal Reserve that is printing a lot of money, putting it into markets, buying corporate bonds and things like that. And these stocks are doing some similar things. And so I mean, I think that this can be contradictory because they are saying that, oh, it's like 2008, but they're not really talking about the stock market and how you have all of this money that's flowing into the markets and that's being financed by the Fed. And they're pretty much propping up a lot of these markets. And some people are putting money in crypto. And crypto is actually a worldwide thing. And so you have people all across the world putting money in. And so it's really just like, okay, well, I feel like it's a little bit of hypocrisy there to be concerned about that in a way. Because if you're concerned about that and not concerned about the stock market or the housing market or some of these other inflated bubbles, I mean, then that's a problem itself. And so I wouldn't put all that blame on crypto and things like that. So, all right. So we got Democratic Representative Brad Sherman wants to shut Bitcoin down, right? Brad Sherman, representative of California's 30th Congressional District, would rather people make bets in equity markets or the California lottery than invest in crypto. He called for nothing less than to shut Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies down. They are highly volatile and have the political support of patriotic anarchists who are rooting for tax evasion. I hope we shut it down, he said. Now, so this guy sounds like a totalitarian, so this guy is saying, shut this down, like, okay, well, nobody really cares about your opinion, dude, so I think that this guy right here is definitely angry. He probably bought Dogecoin at 72 cents and then lost a lot of money or something. He did something, but he is angry. He sounds very angry at Bitcoin. He said he'd rather people invest in the California lottery. Now, the lottery, we know that the odds of that is terrible. I mean, that's almost like going to the casino, so he's saying he'd rather people make bets in equity markets of the California lottery. And I'm just like, okay, well, you got higher odds in crypto than the lottery for sure, so I don't know what this guy's talking about, but sometimes you have these guys that come in there hot-headed and they want to just ban everything and control everything. And I think this is just a totalitarian response and someone that wants to control things. And so we want more civil liberties and things like that, and being able to invest in the things that we want to invest in, spend our money on things that we want to spend our money on. So we don't need no more of this at all. So then it says most members of Congress are keen to gain more understanding of cryptocurrencies. Unlike Rep. Sherman, the majority of members of Congress were eager to find out more about cryptocurrencies, including their impact on market volatility, the environment, and much more besides. Van Valkenburg was keen to enlighten them, emphasizing the technology's transparencies and peer-to-peer nature and its resistance to censorship and sustainability compared to traditional finance system. The latter, he said, uses an estimated 5 times more energy than Bitcoin. Granted, the traditional financial sector moves more money, but it's worth noting that Bitcoin's energy usage does not scale per transaction. So he's comparing the uses of Bitcoin's energy versus the mainstream financial system's energy. And he's saying that there's no comparison, that Bitcoin is nowhere near the amount of energy usage as the mainstream financial system. And so he's kind of making this argument like, okay, well, we use a lot of energy in this area, but we're focusing on the little bit of energy that Bitcoin is using in comparison. And so he does talk about how the usage doesn't scale per transaction. And so Bitcoin does about 8 transactions per second versus a Visa card could do about 2 to 4,000 transactions per second. And so you see that Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. It's way slower at how many transactions it can do per second versus Visa. But that's some of the things that people are working on with Bitcoin, with the Lightning Network, and trying to speed up the transactions of Bitcoin and doing a layer on top of Bitcoin, such as ACH does on top of Stripe, which Stripe is a payment system. Then you have ACH, which is direct transfers from your checking accounts and things like that. And they put that on top of the Stripe system. So the Lightning Network is something that's going to speed Bitcoin transactions up. And so he's saying that right now, Bitcoin's transactions use way less energy than the mainstream financial system. And that's what he's saying. So fiat's potential for money laundering puts cryptocurrencies in the shade. So Representative Anthony Gonzalez was keen to highlight a little cited figure in the debate about cryptocurrencies and anti-money laundering and respect the commentary around whether we should allow cryptocurrencies to exist along AML lines. I would ask, compared to what? Compared to fiat, where 99% of money laundering goes unprosecuted. It's an argument that many advocates of crypto and even legacy banking institutions have made. A September 2020 report by the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, SWIFT, which SWIFT is actually the system that ACH lies on. I think earlier I said Stripe, I meant to say SWIFT, noted that the number of identified cases of money laundering uses crypto remain relatively small compared to the volumes of cash laundered through the traditional methods. And so people were saying that, okay, Bitcoin is used for all types of crime and things like that. We saw that with the hack in the pipeline, that the feds were able to go in and find who got the Bitcoin. They were able to retrieve some of that Bitcoin because they demanded it be paid in Bitcoin. We see that Bitcoin is an open network where people can see the transactions that are being made and things like that. And they're saying that more people use cash for anti-money laundering than Bitcoin. And I will have to agree. Bitcoin is actually on the internet where things are tracked. If I take money out the bank account, yeah, there's a transaction record of that money coming out of my account. But whoever I hand that cash to or whatnot, however many hands it exchanges and things like that, there's no record of that. And so I think that they make a valid point with that, because a lot of regulators are trying to say that Bitcoin is used for this and stuff. And it's really harder to use Bitcoin for this type of stuff than cash itself. So those are just my perspective on it. I mean, Bitcoin itself has a lot of potential. A lot of people are getting behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin is used worldwide. I've been researching and looking at some podcasts with how Bitcoin plays a role in Zimbabwe and Ghana and some of these other third world countries that are having issues with money, where people don't have bank accounts, people are really struggling. And so Bitcoin has played a big role in these countries and people being able to build wealth, people being able to survive because of hyperinflation and things like that. And so that's some of the things that I want to talk about today. So I encourage you all to look into the humanitarian side of Bitcoin and things like that, because there's a lot to it. It's more than just a speculative asset, if that's what you want to call it. It has a lot of layers to it, especially in how this can change the world, how this can change it for many other countries that have currencies that are consistently falling and failing and things like that. So I hope that you guys look into that. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. And I hope this was helpful. All right, peace.